Have you ever stopped to really think about what an all-out war between the US and Iran would actually look like? It's a terrifying thought for sure, but it's one we kind of need to explore. So in this explainer, we're going to walk through a speculative scenario, a fictional timeline of how a crisis like this could just spiral out of control based on what's happening in the world right now. Okay, let's dive into how it might all begin with a single flash in the sky. Just picture this for a second. You're on vacation, somewhere you think is totally safe, like Dubai. You're with your family, and then the next moment, the city you're in is literally a war zone. I mean, that's the potential reality for millions of people if things really did escalate. And in our scenario, the first sign that something is terribly wrong is an explosion at a major hotel. So, in this hypothetical story, let's just follow one family that's trying to get out. They actually managed to catch a super early morning flight, and it takes off. Everything seems normal. But then, a few hours into the flight, the pilot comes on and announces some delays. And that's when they find out the unthinkable. The US and Israel have just launched a massive attack on Iran. And when they finally land, they see the images everywhere. Dubai Airport, the very place they just left, is being evacuated, it's covered in smoke, all flights are canceled.
And that right there, that's the immediate human cost, isn't it? In a real conflict, families would be separated in a flash. You'd have people stranded in airports all over the world with absolutely no idea when they might see their loved ones again, or, what's even going to happen next.
But in a scenario like this one, there is one piece of good news, if you can call it that. The UAE's air defense systems, which are, by the way, genuinely some of the best on the planet, would be put to the ultimate test. So let's take a look at how they might actually hold up against a massive retaliatory missile strike. To really get a sense of the scale of a conflict like this, let's imagine Iran's immediate response. In our scenario, let's say they launch everything they've got. Over 1,000 missiles, we're talking 1,137, aimed directly at the UAE. And then the defense systems kick in. And get this, in this hypothetical battle, they perform unbelievably well. Let's say an incredible 1,132 of those missiles are shot out of the sky. Now, that would prove just how powerful modern air defense is, but even so, the fires from all that falling debris would still cause huge amounts of damage on the ground. Okay, so how on earth did we even get here? In our speculative timeline, how does a war of this magnitude even start? Well, the initial spark we're imagining is a huge joint military operation launched by the United States and Israel. Let's break down what that might actually look like. We'll call this hypothetical mission Operation Epic Fury. Now, the goal here wouldn't be just a single quick strike. Nope. We're talking about a sustained, multi-day campaign designed to completely tear apart Iran's missile capabilities. Bombs targeting key sites all across the country, from Tehran all the way to Isfahan. Now, in this dramatic scenario, the opening shots include a truly world-shaking event, a direct hit on the compound of the supreme leader. And for the sake of this thought experiment, we'll imagine that this strike is successful, leading to a massive power vacuum right at the heart of the Iranian government. I mean, look at this. It's what military strategists call a decapitation strike. The imagined losses would be just staggering, and they'd be designed to completely cripple the chain of command, not just the supreme leader, but also his entire inner circle and top military commanders, all targeted at the same time to create maximum chaos. So after a devastating blow like that, you can imagine that Iran's response would be swift and it would be furious. In this scenario, the retaliation wouldn't just be aimed at Israel. No, it would escalate into a full-blown regional war, turning the entire Middle East into a battlefield. And this slide really lays it all out, doesn't it? On one side, you have Epic Fury, a laser-focused attack on Iran. But on the other, you have Iran's response. Let's call it Operation True Promise 4. And this isn't focused at all. This is widespread vengeance, targeting nearly every single U.S. ally in the region to make them pay a massive price. And this is absolutely crucial to understand. In any modern war like this, the old lines between military and civilian targets, they disappear instantly. Our scenario imagines direct hits right in the heart of cities. 5-star hotels, international airports, downtown areas. It's a terrifying picture of urban warfare on a massive scale. And here's why a scenario like this is so devastating for so many of us. Over 1 crore, that's more than 10 million, Indians live and work in these Gulf countries. In a real war, they would be right there on the front lines.
their lives, their families, their livelihoods, all directly at risk. So the big question is, how could things possibly escalate so fast? How do you go from simmering tensions to all-out war literally overnight? Let's trace back the secret path that could lead us to this point. Just look at this hypothetical timeline. We're imagining a world where, just a couple of months before the attack, Iran is being rocked by huge protests after its economy completely collapses. And then you get this layer of deception. You have diplomats publicly saying that a peace deal is within reach, even as this attack is secretly being planned. And a key piece of this puzzle is deception. You can imagine a leak to the press, maybe a statement just like this one, revealing that despite all the public talk about peace, the military operation was actually planned weeks, maybe even months in advance. And then you have the heartbreaking reality of any war. Because in this scenario, no matter what the official justifications are about only hitting military sites, the inevitable outcome would be civilian deaths. We can imagine a tragic event, like a strike hitting a school, to really show the true, devastating cost of conflict. Of course, a fire this big doesn't stay contained. The fallout from a war like this would go global, instantly. The economic and political shockwaves would spread far, far beyond the Middle East, and you'd have the entire world just holding its breath. For a country like India, this kind of conflict is the absolute nightmare scenario. I mean, think about it. Over half of its real-world crude oil supply comes right through the Strait of Hormuz. In our war scenario, Iran would almost certainly threaten to shut that down, and that would cause oil prices to just skyrocket, triggering a massive economic crisis.
And you can bet the international reaction on the streets would be explosive. Based on what we've seen with past anti-war movements, you could imagine massive protests erupting all across the globe, with millions of people marching to argue that a war like this is just reckless and totally unnecessary.
And then, just when you think things can't possibly get any scarier, the fear would escalate dramatically. The question on everyone's mind would suddenly become, is this about to go nuclear? And to ramp up the tension even more, imagine the White House starts posting these really bizarre, cryptic videos on social media. One gets posted and then quickly deleted, a video with a message that just says, "It's launching soon." I mean, what does that even mean? It would lead to terrifying speculation. Are they about to launch nuclear weapons, or are they planning a massive ground invasion? So what would be the official justification for all this? Well, in our scenario, the U.S. administration would likely frame the entire war as a mission of liberation. You can just imagine a message being sent to the Iranian people telling them their hour of freedom is at hand and to take over your government when it's all over. But this leaves us with the most critical question of all, doesn't it? We've seen this movie before, in places like Iraq with Saddam Hussein and Libya with Gaddafi. History has shown us that having a foreign power forcibly remove a dictator can lead to decades of instability, civil war, and even the rise of new terrorist groups, making life even worse for ordinary people. So as we consider this whole terrifying scenario, we have to ask ourselves, would this time really be any different?